Isn't that a cool sound? Our board member Dave just donated this gong to the Natural Rights Sangha. He said, hey, it's much better with the Sangha than me having it in a closet at home, so here it is. And I'm at his house again down in the Grass Valley, Nevada City area of California, and it's in the middle of fire zone. Right now there's no fire danger. A nearby fire was pretty much out right now, and luckily it was on the other side of the towns from where Dave is, but California is a fire zone right now. It's in bad shape. So much of it is dry and vulnerable to all the lightning strikes that are happening and all the climate change that's going on. It's an interesting time for the world. In California especially. He put that Buddha behind me to give it a more spiritual setting. Actually it sits across the porch in another place, but he said that'll be a better background than my house. So if you hear a bark, we've got little Sneaker the dog sitting 6 feet away over here right now, slumbering serenely, but she could bark at any time. And I just realized that I didn't put my phone on airplane mode, which I need to do so it won't ring in the middle of our meeting. This is the Sunday, August 30th, Natural Rights Sangha meeting, and we usually start with a meditation, which is what we will do now. Please sit up straight, but in a relaxed fashion, and we meditate for mindfulness. We meditate for just, when we say mindfulness, what's funny is we're getting as least mindful as possible. We are letting thoughts go, okay? And if thoughts come, we just say thinking, and let them be. We don't dwell on them or say, why did that thought come to mind? Or, oh my God, that's right, I need to do this after this, or whatever. We let these things go. So, fingers together, however you wish, sitting up straight, comfortably. Set your timer for 10, 12, 15 minutes, however much you wish. With our new gong, I will gong once at the beginning, and when you turn it back on after the 10 or 12 or 15-minute meditation, whichever you like, you'll hear a gong again, and then I continue with our meeting. Well, welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk about the mind versus the heart. And it's not really a versus thing. And we've talked some about this before, but I found a great passage about this in this book. This is The Practical Approach to Divinity by Chandra Swami Udasin. And this is probably a very difficult book to find because Chandra Swamiji, and this is Chandra Swami Udasin, not the wild Swami who was running around jet-setting and partying and making money illegally 20 years ago or so in India. Chandra Swami Udasin is the real thing. And I've been very fortunate. I first met him in 2003, and his ashram in northern India is fantastic. He's a guy who, when they said, we want to build you an ashram in France, He said, if you build an ashram for Chandra Swamiji in France, I will change my name. He doesn't want fame or power or money and no sex, no drugs, none of that stuff. That's not him. He's truly a man of spirit, and he's the real deal. And in his book, in his approach to spirituality, he used all of the three main paths. He used Yana. The Jnani is the person who has achieved Jnana. Jnana is the path of knowledge. And he used Bhakti, which is the path of devotion. And he used what we would call Kriya. Could be called Kriya or Karma Yoga. And this is doing. Okay, so he did things physically. And yoga is one of the prime examples of doing things physically for meditation. And Tai Chi is used by Chinese for similar purposes. He did the physical, he did the devotional, and he did the mental. And unfortunately in the West right now, we have some teachers who are running around just encouraging the mental. And they say, once you understand it up here, you got it. That's it. You're done. This one teacher understood the concepts mentally and is running around telling everybody, once you understand these concepts, you're enlightened. Oh boy. Well, the mental understanding is, I'll let Chandra Swamiji tell you in his own words. So, from Chandra Swamiji, in his book, The Practical Approach to Divinity, on page 100 of this edition, he writes, let it be remembered that true wisdom does not lie in learning various definitions of spiritual principles as given in philosophical and theological books. Through intensive and exhaustive study of the books on different systems of theology, or even through ever listening to scholarly discourses on spirituality, one's formal knowledge is enriched, but it certainly does not help one to know the real self, the self with the capital S, the self that is all that is. Okay? It certainly does not one help to know the real self, nor does it enable one to have even a single spiritual experience of a high order. If one considers oneself as Jnani, that's a person of knowledge, of spiritual knowledge, who's actually gotten it, merely by virtue of having learnt a number of definitions of the various aspects of spiritual reality, as that of the soul, providence, Godhead, Spirit, and God, one really falls victim to self-delusion. Such a person, it is said, is only a vachaka jnani, that is, one who talks too much about God in theological terms, but has no spiritual experience, nor even sincere aspiration for direct spiritual experience. Now, that's pretty powerful to say that they really don't have any desire to do this, but it's really nice to realize or to think that that you can attain something just by sitting back and listening and understanding some concepts, or reading them and understanding, wow, I'm enlightened now. Cool. Well, he goes on a few pages later to point out another danger. He goes on to talk about self-surrender. And self-surrender is another concept that can very much be misunderstood. But self-surrender, really what he says surrender amounts to, is to acknowledge that in reality, unless all that is nods at whatever is happening, it's not going to happen. In fact, all that happens is all that is in action. So, in our little illusory mind-body selves, what can we supposedly do? Well, Chandra Swamiji believes that if, with divine grace, there are things that can happen that we can do, and they're definitely paths that put us in the right direction. And if we don't take those paths, very likely we will never, quote, get there, unquote. And getting there is the whole point. Now, he says, yet beware. On the pretext of self-surrender, some people turn tamasic and lethargic in the performance of spiritual sadhana. We will not do anything. Let the Lord do everything for us. This attitude is quite against the spirit of true resignation. Such spiritually tamasic people go on, one wonders to note, doing their best to grow more and more wealthy and to rise in the political, social, or economic hierarchy, as if God, who is all-powerful to give them salvation, is powerless to bring them such ordinary worldly things. All this shows that they do not understand the true meaning of faith in the Lord, in all that is, in consciousness, in self. A truly faithful person would say, I can do all things not through human wisdom or human power, but through God, through all that is, through the self with the big S. Now, as you've learned in the Natural Right Sangha, we have a concern for people who fall prey to teachers who say that understand these concepts and you're enlightened, or you don't need to do anything because you're not the doer and you're illusory, so just sit back and don't do anything at all spiritually, and it'll happen if it's supposed to happen, and if not, well, to hell with it. It's never not going to happen for you. Sorry about that. Well, both these types of teachings are really, really, really off. And most of these teachers know they're off at some level. They know they're off. And they do it anyway. For money, sex, drugs, fame, power. In one guy's case, he said it's a lot better doing this to make money than selling used cars. Yeah, and screw up people's heads and spiritual paths for God knows how many years, if not their whole life. Right now, changing topics a little bit and moving to the precepts. Right now in the world, it's a very interesting time. Our first precept is to endeavor to do no harm to any living thing. And we're living in a time, though, where it's becoming more and more apparent with the help of modern technology and people with film at their disposal and every phone they have, or that they can film something right away, that some people are being mistreated. Some people are being killed or shot 7 times in the back for nothing. And if we are to witness this, are we to do nothing too? It's a very interesting time, and it brings into mind the precepts about protecting and helping people. And so what choices do we make? It is an interesting time for a member of the Sangha or for anyone else. So of course we endeavor not to harm people, but should we just silently sit back and let these things continue? Without saying anything, without doing anything? I look over at the thermometer on Dave's porch, and it's 82 degrees. It's going to be up to 90 today. It's relatively cool. I'm going to show you something special here. Hold on, if I can. Can you see Sneaker the Wonder Dog there? That's Sneaker, the ferocious guard beast. Who, there, I hope you can see Sneaker now. And the ferocious guard beast Sneaker is a wonderful little puppy, but whenever anybody or anything comes by, she'll bark, which is all Dave needs. He just needs to know, hey, someone's here, something's here. Dave's had mountain lions here, he's had bear, he's had all these things. You know, one time he saw 3 mountain lions go by as he was on the phone. Just going, okay, you know. You know, and the bear, if you leave food out, don't leave food out. You know, so it's kind of cool. It's nice that this still exists in a place like California that has, 40 million people now? You know, they still have these wild animals and this much nature. Although today, the smoke is here. So, if you know someone who has met a teacher who is teaching them they don't need to do anything, they're not the doer, and that the mental is all you need. You don't need to have the experience of actually being and knowing a connection with all that is, which is always really with us, but which we're only aware of some of the time because the world is blocking it and our thoughts are in the way. Until we're, quote, there, in which case we're always there, and we're working with the world not in it or of it, but we're not of the world, but we're, what am I trying to say? We're not in the world, but we're, never mind, I won't even go there right now. I think you know what I'm trying to say. The enlightened person is here, but isn't here in the same way as anyone else. And that's where we all want to be. It's not like we can't enjoy a nice meal or enjoy company with our partner or whatever it is. But the whole perspective is different at the same time. All right. So let's move to the 4 agreements. 4 agreements, I did it again. 4 immeasurables. Okay. The 4 immeasurables. And please, we'll do them for ourselves first. And then we'll do them for others the second time. May I have happiness and the causes of happiness. May I be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May I reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. I forgot to say, please repeat them after me. All of us who've been here before know that. But if this was your first Sangha, that's what we do. Okay, so the second time we do it for we. Now that can be everyone you love, everyone you like, all your friends, all your family, the whole world. You can focus on people you got troubles with, who've been problematic, who made you angry in the past. You know, people you'd like to see do better, or everybody, whatever you like. So it'll be we. You choose the we. Okay? The 4 immeasurables. May we have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we never be separate from the happiness that is free of sorrow. May we reside in equanimity, free of attachment and aversion. Oh, one quick last word. I'm afraid that this book is very difficult to get. You might have to go to India to get it. He's not into selling things. He's not into marketing. They give the books away for free at the ashram. If you wish to make a donation, you can. It's that's just the way the Swami is. Okay, well, thank you for being here. And to end our meeting this Sunday, I will bang our new gong again.